One of the hardest things in photography is to ask for constructive feedback. That's exactly what Paul's done today. Let's dive in and let's take a look at today's portfolio review. It may be one of the hardest things to do, but it's definitely one of the most rewarding things to do within photography is to ask for feedback on your photographs. So I'm delighted that Paul got in touch all the way from Holland over there on mainland Europe. He's a wrestling photographer out there and he's asked us to take a look at a selection of images from his portfolio. His portfolio had around about 30 images in there. I've downloaded about 14 in there for us to have a look at today. Should be a largely positive and constructive critique here where we look at all of the image elements from things like composition to color harmony to technical ability, but most of all impact. We're looking at impact, looking at the way images make us feel and the way that Paul's images make us feel, because all the best images in the world make us feel something and draw us into that image. So without further ado, let's jump right in and have a look at a selection of his work. So you're going to have to forgive me because I don't know a lot of the names of the talent here, so I'm just going to talk in sort of very, very broad terms about what I'm seeing here. This is starting at ringside in one of the corners. It looks like quite a small ring. It looks like a really, really intimate arena there, which is really cool. And I love the timing on this first shot. And I brought it up first because it's just like a real nice sort of comedic hit in terms of the expression, especially of the guy giving the mood here in the flat cap sort of going down below. Lovely sort of triangle sort of being made there with that shape in there, drawing our eye right into the middle of the frame. Quite like the spotlight at the top as well, which is sort of giving us a little bit of extra light, giving us a little bit of ambience within the arena. We can see spotted sort of people around the arena here, sort of on the railings, looking on as we go through. I find the camera guys slightly distracting, not necessarily the one down here in the bottom right hand corner, but certainly the one in between the legs. I find it quite distracting, but it could be quite a nice little comedy bump again. So maybe that's a cool thing. Maybe I'd also just lose this little sort of exit sign there, just in between the legs. I think that's just a slight little bit of distraction. When we look at a whole image, we want to sort of like squint our eyes really and look at what are the brightest parts of the image. And the brightest parts generally, this is very, very general. I always speak in general terms, very, very general rule, but the brightest part of the image is where our eye naturally goes to. And that's really where our point of interest is drawn to, or should be drawn to. We can have other elements around the image that our eye can draw around, but ultimately we want to go to that bit that's the brightest point. And really, when we look at this image, the brightest points are the face of the guy taking the move down here, the top of the referee's hat here, which has almost gone into bright white, the spotlight up here, and then this little sign, just this little sort of distracting sign there just between the legs. But overall, I just think just the character is coming across from the guy giving the move, and that's really what you want from this. Good shape and just looks like a fun show to be a part of. Really atmospheric one as we sort of come through into the arena here, and I picked this one because I liked it's a really like interesting triadic color scheme, because we've got elements of blue there with the mask and the t-shirt, elements of green there with the dry ice being backlit there by the gelled lighting in the background, and then we've got little hints, accents of reds there just down the bottom there, just around about by the legs. So just it's a complicated color scheme to work with, but it actually works, I think works really, really well in this instance. And although we can't see the eyes of the person behind the mask, there is a connection there. We do feel like we're being looked at, almost looked at twice as well, because the mask there obviously being mirrored by the t-shirt and the design on the t-shirt there. Really appreciate as well the low angle that we've managed to achieve here. Gives us a really, really intimidating viewpoint from the viewer's perspective. We feel intimidated by the person coming through into the arena behind us. And although there are bright lights around in the background, it's actually been fairly well balanced out throughout the whole image. Nothing too distracting in there, and it looks like we're working with a creative lighting setup, but also a challenging lighting setup in terms of maintaining image quality throughout. I know that you shoot on Canon, so that'll be a good thing. The Canon cameras will be able to handle files without losing too much detail in terms of grain there. I've worked with them in the past, so that's a good positive thing. And yeah, overall it achieves what it sets out to achieve in terms of an entrance picture. This I feel kind of intimidated by it, not just because of the mask, but also because of the angle that you've chosen to shoot at for this one. This one I chose because the impact of the angle is so unnerving and so different. I just thought it really stood out, and I love the connection. Overall, there is overexposure within this, and it's difficult when we're working ringside because we've got all different lights of all different color temperatures all bouncing around and doing different things and shining at different moments, and often we can't tell until after the event when we start going through the images what actually happened in camera, because the lighting isn't consistent. It changes, particularly on these entrances. But I think to get this connection with the person making this move through the ropes upside down, especially as they're dressed in green and it's all like a little bit unnerving anyway, and a little bit otherworldly as it is, I just thought it was a really well seen image there from a photographer's point of view. And I'm guessing we can't have been in those ropes for too long. You can't have had too long a moment to really capture this. So to actually be there in the right place at the right time, ready to go, and just take it as that moment happened and get the connection of the wrestler looking straight down through the middle of the lens is really commendable. So yeah, I admire the shot. And from the same position but from a different focal length, I guess, we have this, and I just thought this was a really smart capture using the lighting to great effect. You've got a great lighting engineer here working at these shows, because we're producing these effects and this mood with this small arena, creating this really intimate experience. But whilst it is an intimate experience, we are still able to create these grand entrances with shape and dynamic lighting, and it's been so well captured here. Good triangle there sort of coming through of the guy looking across, and quite often as photographers we're like, right, we want the face looking straight on towards me, I want them looking towards me, but we've captured this moment where we're looking at 90 degrees, a profile, looking off and looking up almost into that light coming down from the 45-degree angle. Only very small minor changes, maybe just crop these little top red lights out at the top here, maybe crop this light on the right hand side out so that we've just got a perfect shot there with the triangles of light coming down. But well observed, well seen in challenging but impactful lighting conditions, and yeah, really admire this shot as well. We've got this wrestler later on in the portfolio review, but I just wanted to show you this one first because it just shows you the impact and how powerful it can be just changing your angle. Sometimes portraits aren't all about taking pictures of people's faces. Sometimes you're just trying to create a mood, sometimes you're trying to change perspective, sometimes you're trying to focus on shape and form, and all of those things have happened here. We are taking this from a perspective that a fan often wouldn't see at ringside of the wrestler, looking at the ring, looking beyond, looking at the arena and everything that's going on. Having this rim lighting, heavy rim lighting, gives us almost a Sin City vibe. Not quite dark enough in the blacks to go full Sin City, but certainly white enough in the whites. All of the whites are overexposed on the rim lighting there, and that's really helped define the muscles and define the physique and really make the most of the body and the shape that we have in front of us, telling the story with the clenched fist and the raised title belt there in the right hand side. The choice to switch it to monochrome is a really smart one here because it simplifies the image. The only thing I would look at, again, just have a look at those highlights. This one spotlight here with the halo around it is helping show where that light is coming from and giving us context in terms of our brain working out that image. These little spotlights here around the head, this little one coming out of the left hand side, maybe they just could be lost, and then darken that background down even more to really draw that subject out from the background into the foreground and give us an even more impactful shot. But I just thought this was a lovely perspective, lovely challenging angle, and a bit of a photographer's image there, if I'm being honest. But I like that one a lot. Gone up on the super wide here, not afraid to get up above that middle rope to capture this shot where they're showing out to hard cam this stable of all sorts of characters in there, everyone doing something different, and a really good expression on the guy in the foreground holding that PWH belt aloft. And just to get that moment again, they probably can't have been there for very long, so to be brave enough to get up onto that apron, you have to just double check with your video guys, double check with your promoter, double check with everyone that they're happy for you to do that. I got asked at the last show to do it when Thunder Rosa won the belt to go up on the ring apron, and even though I'd had everyone's permission to do it, I was still really nervous about doing it because I don't like getting in the way and I don't like having the attention put on me. But this is a good decision because we've gone up a little bit higher, we've got a nice clean angle, and yeah, once again, good expressions coming through. Background light, not too distracting again. Yeah, admire this shot and admire the little risk that you've taken to jump up and just get it from there. Really like this shot. Now, we can see digital grain on the shot, which suggests to me that we're shooting at a high ISO. When we get that grain going across the image, have a play with your black and white conversions and just see what you get out of there. You might get a slightly more antique-y, a slightly more wet platey look, something a little bit different. But again, for this one, I just wanted to include it because I really admired the angle. I really admired the fact that we'd captured this moment with the tongue coming out, but we'd chosen to shoot a profile of the mask, which shows that mask off and the whole design. They spend so much money on these masks and getting the design in there. It's nice to show off the full feature, and you won't get that side panel if you're just shooting front on. But I loved it with the negative space on the left hand side, the tongue coming out of the mouth, the warm tones coming through from the yellow lighting underneath the arm all the way through to the red design on the top. Just a good, well seen moment. Have a look at your levels, see if we can just bring that background down a little touch so we can't see that grain, and it will give us an even cleaner image there. There's actually an AI denoise software now in Lightroom that you can use. It's super quick, super easy, and it sort of eliminates all of that noise. I'm a bit of a purist because I come from an age where you had to choose your ISO film before putting it in a camera. So if you wanted a grainy shot, you chose a 3200 film and you stuck it in the camera and you got grainy black and white shots and they look cool. Whereas now we seem to try and make cameras that just eliminate grain altogether, which I can understand as well. But yeah, no, enjoyed this shot immensely. Again, what we're coming back to here is like a theme of being able to have connection with the guys in the ring. So it's obvious that you've got a good connection with the talent, which is great. So they're taking moments in the match and they feel comfortable enough to come to you at ringside, and you're quick enough to get these images. Not perfect lighting again, we've got a split lighting here where the harsh light is on the left hand side. Our brightest parts of the image are the referee and the guy in the background, and obviously this face and arm in the foreground, but they're all sort of working against each other, particularly the referee there in the background. So we may be looking to sort of lose him. I like the accent of the ring rope at the top. It gives us an element of foreground. Remember, sometimes I say with these event shots, you want a foreground, you want a midground, you want a background, and with that ring rope in the foreground, it gives us that real, it makes us feel like we were there and we're part of that scene, and that's how claustrophobic it would feel to be there. But overall, great connection, great expression coming through. Yeah, really enjoyed that shot. A good action shot here, really well captured with very few distractions, and I just wanted to bring your attention to this one because it's really about the benefit of cropping to simplify an image. Everything that's going on in this image is happening here around the hair, the beard, the arm, the side headlock, and all of the hair coming in from the victim with their hand coming up there and their hand coming around the waist. So everything in there is working. The spotlight there, I quite like the little bit of flare coming off of it again, and it just gives us that direction of light, and we're working at high shutter speed, so all of those hairs are sort of pin sharp and well exposed in there. But really, I just feel that a tighter crop here and maybe a black and white conversion is the way to go. If we bring this crop in there, I always do this with my hands, but if we bring this crop in here just around the faces and just cropping just below where that hand is around the back and just going in super tight will give us an even more intense feel to the image, and you have to almost look twice to sort of see what's going on. Sometimes you can almost have too much context, and with the ring ropes in the background there, we've got a slightly distracting blue light on the left hand side there. Just come in nice and close and just really make it about that moment in time that you've caught that cannot be replicated. And the black and white conversion, because there isn't a lot of color in this shot anyway, I just think in the way that the shot from before where we had the belt when we were shooting it from behind, all of the hair, all of the highlights, everything in here would work really, really well together in a black and white version to really maximize those highlights and shadows to work in balance together. I put this one in because it's just a great shot for context. For promoters love this sort of stuff. A full arena, packed out, standing room only. I can see there are kids there. I can see there are families there. I can see this amazing laser show going on at the top, which is just like making it look wonderful. You've got the packed merchandise stall in the background. You've got the action going on in the ring. You've got refreshments. Everything that you need to know as a buying customer is happening here. So it looks like an event that you'd need to get in quick for, because it looks like it's going to be a sellout. It looks like the action in the ring is professionally handled. It looks like it's going to be a great light show. It looks like it's going to be an intense atmosphere. It looks like something you want to go to. Promoters are going to go and absolutely love that. Well, we've shot at a fairly high ISO. Again, we can see very small amounts of sort of cross hatching in terms of the grain in there. Again, just work at not upping the texture too much when we're processing, or looking at denoise filters as we go down. And at these wider angles, we can afford to drop our shutter speed down. If we're shooting on long focal lengths, the lens is more likely to move, and you're more likely to get some sort of camera blur if you're shooting at a slower shutter speed. But there's no reason why at a wide angle like this you can't drop that shutter speed down to a 60th or even a 30th of a section if you've got good footing, and just try and capture something there that allows you to shoot at a lower ISO to get a little bit more quality coming through the whole image there. But yeah, really enjoyed this one as a promotional image for the promotion. I hope they enjoyed it too. I hope they valued it too, to be honest. Now, I really wanted to talk about the next three images because they invoke memories of Neil Leifer's iconic shot of Muhammad Ali taken from above, and also like something I've always wanted to do in the wrestling arena, which is copy the angle from Brett and Owen's WrestleMania 10 match, which was only ever shot. Wrestling's only ever been shot that way once. It created an amazing iconic moment and they never went back to it, and I still can't understand why. But having the camera above the ring has given us these incredible shapes and moments on impact, and it's such a brave choice to go for, and it's something that you really, if I was to give you any advice right on this portfolio, it's just to continue chasing whatever this is to getting the shot that you're super happy about. I love the angle on these ones. This moment of impact just makes it look so different from anything else in the portfolio. And when we look at the second one here, just the angle of taking the move, and something as simple as just like going down for a pinfall. When a wrestler goes down for a pinfall, we're really reliant on them looking out at the camera, because we can't see the person taking it because they're flat on the floor and often their face is covered. So you, as a photographer, you're sort of sat there waiting, okay, for the kick out moment and for the reaction to the kick out and then what's going to happen next. But to actually get this moment, this almost looks like it might be before a one count has even been struck, and to create these interesting shapes within the shot is really interesting. Try and line up when we're trying to do these. The interesting thing about the Muhammad Ali shot is that everything is perfectly symmetrical and nothing's distorted or warped. So when we're shooting from above like this, we can see the shadows of the ring ropes, and we almost want to get to a point where all of those are perfectly aligned and not just on an angle to sort of distract our viewer's eye as we look around the image. But this one here, again, I just thought from above gives us a really different angle of the guy making his entrance into the ring here. And I just thought that was really interesting as well. So those three shots there, shot from above, I really admire, and I just think it's something that we can look at and we can go to, and we can maybe look at perfecting and seeing what else we can do with it and what other techniques we can use there to create interesting images. I might be stealing it, is what I'm saying. And then lastly, this is the wrestler that we shot from behind before, and now we're shooting them from in front, and it just gives us a lot of different things going on here that I really admire. I like the use of the Tron in the background to help tell a story with the text. I love the moment we've captured right on the double bicep curl. And I like the use of these red and green ropes to sandwich and letterbox the action within. If I was to do anything, I would just lose the very top of that image and have the red rope bleeding into the top in a similar way that the green rope is bleeding into the bottom to give us perfect symmetry there. But I love the fact that we're just off on that angle. It may be a better shot if we had the performer right in the middle of the frame, but I actually like it slightly off center. I like it working on those rule of thirds. We've seen here though from this portfolio 2 or 3 different ways to photograph an entrance in a small arena. With not a lot of space and scope to do different things, and the photographer in this instant has really worked hard to try and get different feelings and different moods from these entrances, and I admire it greatly, and it's been a really lovely portfolio to enjoy here. So thank you so much to Paul for sharing your work there. Like I say, I've really enjoyed the changes and angles and what you managed to get out of such a small arena to really convey great action coming across, and also great character and great connection with the subjects in the ring. I really want to see more of your work there, so I'll certainly be following online and look forward to seeing where you take your photography next. If you'd like a portfolio review, you can get one. You can email me, portraitofawrestler@gmail.com. We'll feature you and your work on this channel. Every Monday, we are going to be uploading a new lighting tutorial to this channel, so you'll be able to check us out, have a look at different lighting techniques from ambient lighting, location lighting, all the way through to off-camera flash and high-end strobes. So check us out there. I'll be speaking in London on the 17th of January at Hammersmith at the Society's convention. I'll be judging for a couple of days before that. The judging for their annual competition is completely free to attend, so you can come and see us there in London at the Society's convention. And later on in the year, I'll be speaking at the photography show at the Excel Arena in London. You can come and check me out there. Have a look at their website for the dates and times for that. If you'd like some help with your portrait lighting, we can do that for you. Visit me at nofussmus.com. We've got a 1 lighting, a 2 lighting, and a 3 light workshop there for you to download and learn from. All of the information is in the description below. And most of all, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for leaving comments. Thank you for being a silent viewer. I enjoy the silent I enjoy the silent viewers the most. And yeah, have a great week. All the very best.